hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. And I hope you're taking some time, putting a little balance in your life, spending some time with family, friends, and continuing to add to your preparations. I was watching some videos earlier today and just over the last couple of days watching videos that are out there, other channels. And I've been noticing that a lot of these channels are apologizing because they don't want to scare you. And many of them saying, I don't want to scare you, or this message isn't to scare you. If you're watching what is taking place in the US economy, if you're watching what's happening over in Eastern Europe, I mean, we had a nuclear reactor on fire, and we're watching so much take place day to day, financial, geopolitical, spiritual, you name it. If you're not a bit scared right now, there's something wrong with you. If you're not concerned right now, there's something wrong with you. I don't think somebody that's being honest with themselves is saying that they're not scared with what they're watching take place right now, that they're not concerned. And if you're scared, you're concerned, you take action and you take precautions and you prepare. And again, when you are concerned or scared, you're going to react. If you have a normal mentality, you react by taking action and making preparation for what's happening. Again, I don't know how you cannot be nervous, scared, or concerned by watching what is taking place. And this is just the beginning. The volatility in the stock market, the massive debt, the deficits, the verge of World War III, nuclear reactors on fire. You're watching central banks being shut down. You're watching food lines. You're watching bank runs. You're watching ATMs run out of money. You're watching fiat currencies absolutely disintegrate. And at some point, it's going to affect us. And you should be very concerned. And you should be a little bit scared. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that what I'm going to share with you today isn't going to scare you. It should, and I hope it does, because then you will take action and prepare for what is coming. So a couple articles that I was reading earlier today, and this one coming from wolfstreet.com. Even soaring wages got crushed by inflation in hot labor market. Fed gets more rate hike ammo. The Fed is, in my opinion, and I'm sure most of you would agree, is just standing by and doing nothing. And this economy is crying, begging for help, begging for rate hikes. The dollar is going to continue to buy you less and less until the Fed actually takes action. And my concern is they're so late. They should have begun to raise rates 10 years ago. And they stood by and did nothing, ignored what was happening, and basically sacrificing the economy for Wall Street. This economy is drowning in debt and inflation, while the Fed stands by and does absolutely nothing. The Fed should have came out today, had an emergency meeting, and said we're raising rates today immediately. They're not doing anything. Why do they continue to wait? Will they raise rates this March? Yes, I believe they will. 25 basis points, going to do absolutely nothing. And this is why I will continue to buy gold. I will continue to buy silver. And this is why we're going to continue to see inflation run out of control. Yesterday, I went to get gas, $4.89 for the cheapest gas in my area. And I'm seeing gas prices throughout California skyrocketing, throughout the country skyrocketing. Diesel right now in Southern California is around $5.47 a gallon. And these people driving these SUVs, the big F-250s, F-350s, the big Duramax trucks, I don't know how they're going to do it. I mean, if you have to fill up twice a week, this is basically going to cost you $300 a week, $1,200 a month. What used to be a mortgage payment is now what people are spending to fill up their pickup trucks. And as we continue to watch this economy collapse, inflation soar, the U.S. consumer is making a heroic effort to outspend the inflation, and they are losing. The economy relies on consumers to spend, but real incomes, ladies and gentlemen, are plunging. Disposable income plunging. Inflation is eating it all up. And now people are at the grocery store putting certain items down. They're not going out to the malls and buying things they don't need as much. They're not going on Amazon and buying as much as they used to. People are now forced to cut things out unless they're heading to their credit cards or their buy now, pay later plans, which many are doing. Many have an addiction to spending, and they're going to do whatever they can do to continue with this addiction, like using credit cards, like using the equity they pulled out of their homes to buy toys and to continue spending. Many people are going to have a very, very hard time adapting to their new standard of living. And many are going to go deeper in debt as they try to fight to stay in the middle class. They're going to go deeper and deeper into debt as they borrow more to just stay in the middle class. Food prices jumped 20.7% year over year. This on Reuters. Record high in February. People are, as I said, putting certain items down at the grocery store. People, I've noticed the cheaper foods, the frozen foods at the grocery store. When I was at the grocery store a couple days ago, the frozen food department was wiped out. And so what that tells me is that people are going to choose to eat the cheapest food possible, right? They're going to go to the cheapest fast food restaurants. They're going to buy the frozen food entrees at the grocery store, the frozen dinners. And this is, I think, going to be really, really bad for people's health. And people are now cutting out quality food because they can't afford it, and they're going to go to the cheapest food possible, filled with preservatives, chemicals, and this is going to, I think, have a major effect on people's health down the road. Another article on wolfstreet.com. It's the airline stocks again. Ugly day, ugly week, ugly long term. Spiking fuel prices, going to cost a lot more to fly, ladies and gentlemen, and it is wreaking havoc on the airlines. How in the world is this industry going to survive unless, again, they come to the taxpayer and need a bailout? I don't know how it's going to happen. And just recently, I think it was on CNBC about 2 weeks ago, they were talking about how the airlines were talking about how it's all going to come back, how they look at 2022 as a great year. It's going to recover. The business is going to be booming. People can't wait to get out. But unfortunately now, oil prices are surging. The cost of flying is going to continue to get out of control. And just look at some of these stock prices. And these are the largest airlines in order on their losses Friday. United Airlines lost 9.1%. This is the stock price from Friday. American, negative 7.1%. Frontier, down 6.4%. Spirit, down 6.3%. Delta, 5.6%. All this in one day, and many, many more airlines on this list. They're going to probably need another bailout. And now with what's happening in Eastern Europe, and we're going to be basically financing our friends, our allies, with billions of dollars of equipment. Guess who's paying for that? That will be you and I. And it's just a matter of time before the airlines come begging to the American taxpayer for more money. But it's another industry in very, very big trouble. Another article today from MSN. U.S. gas prices are rising at fastest pace. This is what I can't figure out, and many of you will probably agree with this. Comment down below. Let me know if you're seeing the same thing that I am. But the last couple weeks, I've never seen so much traffic. It's literally like gas is 99 cents a gallon. Everybody's driving around in these massive pickup trucks, the big SUVs, the Escalades, the Suburbans, the Tahoes. I mean, everybody's out. Traffic along I-10 here. I've never seen so many people out. And yet gas prices are now at all-time highs. On average here, $4.89 for regular gas here in Southern California. SUVs running around all over the place. When do we see this begin to slow down? What's the number? Is it when regular is $5, $5.10, $5.15, $5.50? When do we begin to see the traffic disappear? I think we're getting very, very close to that number. And people have been writing me, Canada, the prices in Canada through the roof. And a lot of people are blaming this on credit cards, that people are just using credit cards to fill up the tanks, and it's life as usual. People cannot give up their lifestyle. They cannot give up, especially this middle-class standard of living, which they're going deeper into debt to pay for. And it's on borrowed time. The middle-class standard of living is on borrowed time, and it's very, very unfortunate. But I've got a few data points here that I want to read off to you. And anybody that believes the economy is coming back or is recovering or is in good shape or is in even decent shape, I really pray for you. That's all I can say is I really, really pray for you, because when you look at some of these data points and do your own research, do your own due diligence, don't listen to what I have to say, confirm what I say, but this is really, really staggering. And this is just another reminder to all of us that things are failing, that things are decaying. And I really believe that we are now passing the torch to China, that the days of America being the world superpower, the biggest economy, it's over. In fact, right now, I don't even believe that America has the biggest economy. I just don't even think that's possible. We know who has the biggest economy now. We know who the most powerful nation is now. It's not America. And I think that we are now in the last inning, winding down. And it really hurts me to say that, because things are really going to change here. When I grew up as a kid, most children today will never experience how you and I grew up. If you're a little bit older, they're never going to experience how great the 80s were, the early 90s, the 70s. I mean, it's a different world now, and it's just really, really sad. And we're going to lose a lot, and people don't realize it. And many people probably will never realize it because they never knew how prosperous America once was, and how great it was, and how much opportunity there was, and how you really could make it. It's much harder today with the amount of laws, permits, the insurance, taxes, regulations. It's so hard to make it today. I mean, even if you want to be a hairdresser, how many permits and licenses and how much insurance do you need? And the massive rent now for a building. How do people make it? We're not incentivizing business here. We're pushing it out. And it's really, really sad when people don't want to be entrepreneurs because it costs too much and there's so much red tape. It's going to hurt the nation. It's hurting the nation right now. But I want to share some of this data with you. And I think that this really confirms what all of us have been seeing over the last couple of years. 53 million U.S. workers are making low wages. We have 157 million people in the workforce. 1/3 of those people make low wages. Inflation at a 40-year high. Now, if we calculated inflation like we did back in, say, 1982, we would right now be seeing all-time high inflation. Okay, this would be the highest inflation, not in 40 years, but all time, if we calculated inflation like we did back in the 80s. Record amount of workers not in labor force is at an all-time high. Real unemployment right now today is 22%. 1/3 of employed Americans earn less than $20,000 per year. 4.6 million more job openings than workers, but still 5 million fewer jobs than before the health crisis. Since 2000, the U.S. has lost 30 million payroll jobs. Only 65% of US men had a job last year. Now, anybody making a video telling you, I don't want to scare you, or this isn't to scare you, this should scare you, ladies and gentlemen. This should really scare you, what I'm reading to you. Some of these data points. You should be very concerned, and you should be taking some sort of action to protect yourself and your family, because this thing is unraveling as I make this video. The wheels have come off the train, and we are off the tracks, ladies and gentlemen. 32% of all manufacturing jobs have disappeared since 2000. Only 9% of jobs in America are manufacturing. In 1970, it was 25%. In the early 90s, the trade deficit with China was around $39 billion. Today, it's over $300 billion. You tell me who now rules the world. You tell me who has the biggest economy. Manufacturing is now the smallest share of the US economy in 72 years. Since 2001, the US labor market has lost an average of 50,000 manufacturing jobs per month. That is sickening. That is scary and unexcusable. Over 50% of Americans don't earn enough to afford a one-bedroom rental unit. And yet we're being told about this incredible real estate market, even though it's the biggest bubble we have ever seen. We have a reckoning coming, ladies and gentlemen, and it is going to really be epic. 40 million Americans between the ages of 25 and 35 cannot afford a home. Who's going to buy all these homes? Is it just going to continue to be BlackRock and Blackstone and Vanguard and hedge funds and private investment money? What about the average American? Are they going to be able to buy a home? Back in 1965, 1 in every 50 Americans was on Medicaid. Only 1 in 50. Today, it's 1 out of 6. 1 out of 6. 56% of US households receive money from the federal government in some form. And to top it off, the last one I want to share with you, the top 1% of US earners now hold more wealth than all of the middle class. So we are looking at opportunity inequality, wealth inequality off the Richter scale now in America. And this is really, it's heart-wrenching, ladies and gentlemen, and it's scary. It is really, really scary. I've never seen so many problems in this nation as I'm seeing right now. And you're seeing the same problems. And a lot of you are very nervous, scared, and concerned. And you should be, rightfully so. If you're not nervous or scared, you're just not normal. Something's wrong with you. We are hanging on by a string here. And now all we need is a cyber attack, some grids to go down in our major cities, the banking institution or the financial institution to get hit, and we're going to be in real serious trouble here. We all know about the food crisis, the shortages, and the shortages that are coming. This thing is day to day. Anything could happen tonight, tomorrow, this week, next week, and you really got to be really preparing. And my best advice is be walking as close to God as you can. We all know who wins in the end, but I think really people are going to be tested here. We've gotten soft as people. I'm certainly, as I've said many times in the past, I'm not my grandparents, I'm not my uncles, I'm not my parents. We've gotten lazy, we've gotten soft, we've gotten very complacent. All of us, I can admit that. I have. But I am really trying to do what I can to prepare the best that I can for what is coming. I pray nothing bad happens, but it would be a miracle at this point if this just went back to some type of normal. It's not going back to normal. It really hasn't been normal. If you go back to 2008, that was the beginning of the end right there. Nothing really was normal after that. I mean, it wasn't normal to be printing trillions and trillions of dollars year after year, holding interest rates at zero, allowing institutions to come in and compete with home buyers, sending 50,000 manufacturing jobs every month to Asia. I mean, these kind of things are not normal. So when you look at this stuff and you start connecting the dots, it's scary. It really is. And especially for people out there that have kids, my heart goes out to you. But right now, you're watching this video, you're aware that there's a problem, you're admitting that there's a problem, and most of you have been taking action and getting ready for what is to come. And what is to come? Well, I think the US economy is heading into a massive depression. I think the US economy is going to be in a depression for many years to come. Inflation going to be here, stagflation. I mean, every worst scenario is becoming reality, ladies and gentlemen. And now what could happen in Eastern Europe? There's just so much that is out of our control. But one thing we can do is make sure that we are our own central banks, that we're paying off our debts, that we're putting some cash away, that we're buying some gold, some silver, barterable items, making sure that we have our security situated. And that doesn't mean replacing light bulbs in the front yard. That doesn't mean just making sure that the alarm is on, locking the doors. You better get real in depth with your security, okay? Cameras are nice, lights are nice, but you better really, really get in depth and maybe invest a little bit more time and money in your security setup. Also, make sure you're investing in yourself. Make sure you have a skill set. Make sure you know how to do something. And make sure that you're getting in a mental mindset that possibly the lights could go out for a couple days or a couple weeks. The internet could go down for a couple days or a couple weeks. The banking system could go down for a couple days or a couple weeks. Can you survive without power? Can you survive without a phone? Can you survive with your bank being shut down for a week or 2 or 3? Can you survive without any food? No, absolutely not. So you better have food put away. You better have water put away, and you better be able to keep this stuff safe and sound, okay? So I'm going to leave it there. It's a good weekend to continue to prepare. People have gotten very, very complacent. Most of you have not. It's amazing that when the markets go up 3, 4, 5, 6, 700 points, people just go, oh, everything's fine. But how quick these things can come apart and how quick the markets can just be slammed. And there's so much that can happen, and there's so much happening behind the scenes that we don't even know. And at this point, you have to do everything you can right now to put the odds in your favor, to keep yourself safe physically, financially, spiritually, emotionally. So every day, just like working out, do something to make yourself better. Do something that protects you, your money, protects you spiritually, which would be praying. Have a backup plan. Start thinking outside of the box. Make sure that you're getting out of the system the best that you can. Don't leave all your money in the bank. Don't leave assets, valuables in a safe deposit box in the bank. Do not rely on the bank to protect you. Do not rely on the system to protect you. The system is melting down, ladies and gentlemen, and this is the time that you better be detaching from the system because it is on borrowed time. This train is off the rails, ladies and gentlemen. You know it, and I know it. Anybody who is denying that believes in Santa Claus, okay? So right now, we need to stay on path. We need to continue doing what we're doing. And you should be nervous. You should be very, very concerned because things are really going to change in this world. And the standard of living for most Americans is going to change. And it's not going to change for the better. There is too much debt out there, ladies and gentlemen. The dollar has been absolutely destroyed. The deficits now that we have, this is all unrepairable. And there's going to be a lot of pain and a lot of suffering felt right here because we are the biggest debtor nation. We have the world reserve currency, the US dollar, which has been abused time and time again. And we are going to watch nation after nation try to work around it, try to get rid of it, try to look at alternatives. You know, America put the world on the dollar standard. And the world is now going to take America off the dollar standard. Get ready and get prepared.